Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 385. Today is Saturday, October 2nd, 2021, and I'm glad you could join me today. I was definitely practicing saying that it was October yesterday, because it doesn't feel like it. So September and October are the warmest months in San Francisco. So what would it be? So while there isn't sun as late as I would like anymore, there is the summer weather. What would it be? So I think today's high is supposed to be 65. Shenanigans. So warm. But I'm wearing leggings today. I probably could have worn shorts. I might be more comfortable if I put on shorts. That's also a distinct possibility. As you do. But, what would it be? It's been a while since I last recorded. My in-laws' visit was a success. They came, they did touristy things. We worked. I managed actually to finish quite a bit. Would it be? So the FO portion of this show is going to be jam-packed merely due to the virtues of, how would it be? Just that, like, I knew that I was close to basically being able to change out all of my projects. And now I'm in this very oddball state in which I only have one thing on my needles right now, so that is a little bit hilarious. Yeah, it's just what it be. It was a very action-packed week to skip knitting-wise. But yeah, would it be? It'd be the case where this room is also the guest bedroom, so I knew I couldn't record in here, and it's just whatever. Some things are not worth bothering about. But it's okay. So would it be not too crazy, but it is also nice to be whatever back in a more normal groove as well. So it'd be the case where I just got back from mailing the stuff our last house guest forgot. They would really like their water bottle back. Actually, they left behind 2 water bottles and a yoga mat strap. But hey ho. And buying groceries for the week. Though I must admit that Dear Sweet Level 1 and I were both like, what do we want to eat? Meh. Like, neither of us know. Neither of us care. We know we should. But I don't know, we've covered a lot of bases in the past couple of weeks, if that makes any sense. So it'd be the case where, would it be? We've had our casseroles, we've had our Chinese dishes, we've had our Italian dishes. So then it's just like, what do we wanna do? We've rotated through all of the usual things. But it's okay. We shall persist. I think the conclusion that we came to was that we were gonna do chili and some sort of chicken dish, whatever that worked out to be. I might actually have like 2 different chicken dishes planned because I'd picked up butter chicken sauce, so I am curious how that's gonna go. Now, technically speaking, we'll see. It won't be terrible. So what's going on right now is I am apparently in a Tensfield hat knitting jag. For those who've been around a while, 2019 was a very stressful year for me, and I spent the first couple of months of 2019 knitting, I believe, 13 Tensfield hats. Basically, I pulled out all of my oddball scraps between like worsted and fingering and stuff like that. Things where there wasn't enough to make something. When samples, I just made a Ziploc baggie of yarn and I just kept knitting Tensfield hats until that Ziploc baggie was empty, and then I donated it to Scarlett Bennett when I showed up at SSK 2019. And apparently I'm doing the same. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be going on a non-stop Tensfield hat binge. Honest to goodness, I am not nearly as stressed out now as I was then. I would say my stress level is reasonably low at the moment. Maybe reasonably more low after what would be saying goodbye to the in-laws, but hey, whatever. We can still enjoy each other and it be stressful, so that's okay. So yeah, so I am almost done with this hat, but not quite. I was secretly hoping that I would be able to finish it at midnight last night, but I still have some to go. So this is Tensfield, which is a Martina Bem pattern, and it's very subtle, but this is a slightly this is a slightly darker blue going on here, but what I'm doing is I'm just striping from both ends of this gradient, which means, what would it be? Short answer is that the color changes are quite a bit more subtle than before. And what I ended up doing to estimate size for this was I actually pulled up a Tin Can Knits pattern to figure out what was going on, and did that. What would it be? So it would be the case where I really do trust Alexa and Em when they come to sizes, because they run the full gamut from infant to adult. So it's the case where I generally, like, I haven't knit the barley hat, but I definitely have the barley hat as a PDF on my phone because it is useful to see like what size things turn out to be. So that was where I ended up getting sort of the numbers for this. I think I'm going to have enough yarn to knit yet another hat. Yet another hat may, would it be? I'll have to weigh and compare, but yet another hat, I don't think I'm going to end up doing the stripy thing. There's like a subtle thing, like there's a very subtle thing that happens when you transition. I started off doing it one way and then decided I want to do it another. So this will be done soon, but not quite yet. And at this point, like, it's small enough that I can't really work it in the round anymore. So what I have going on is that I have the quarter of the stitches that I'll be eventually grafting on one needle and the 3/4 of the stitches that I have right now on the working needle, and basically I'm just working continual, never-ending short rows until the end, which is fun. And actually, this is the case where I'm not even to like the color change yet. So it's turning out cute. It's pretty subtle. It is very blue, definitely much more on the pastel side than I would normally, but whatever. Such is life, and we'll see if I end up knitting yet another hat out of this yarn. So this is Fiber Optic ink to powder. I ended up getting, I think, 574 yards of 3-ply. So this was chain plied yarn. And because it was around, because I had these needles handy, I seemed to have plenty of yarn left over. It seemed to be an obvious choice to just make a hat and call it good. But this is the other part of the gradient. So I ended up doing a modification to the Tensfield pattern, where I actually created a folded brim. And that might be excessive brim folding. That does sound like a very good episode title. So you can see that we have like the medium blue, we have this very dark navy down here, and then there is like a medium sort of navy. And we're just barely getting into like a lighter shade at the top of this. So, but I do think it did turn out very cute. And then depending on how you wear it, you end up getting to see basically all of the colors of blue from a single vantage point, which I think is cool. So this is a replacement for the One True hat. I've concluded that I can live with same dyer, same fiber content. I did want to have the folded brim, which is why I ended up modifying the Tensfield pattern in order to make that happen. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. It turned out really cute. Like, share all of the blue by tilting my head. So basically what happens with the pattern is that after you knit enough circumference to get around your head, you're supposed to begin working short rows basically in order to build the top of the hat, which you can sort of tell. So this part is sort of the original triangle, so the whole length of the gradient. And then it turned out conveniently that I had like a color change by the time I started to work the short rows again, so you can sort of see like a texture change there. So this section I ended up just working to keep the stitch count even Steven, and that gave me enough length in order to create a folded brim. And it's a lot of, it turned out really fun, I think. The yarn is super kitteny soft. I did a really good job spinning it. Oh man, does it feel good. But it's also too warm to be wearing this hat as well. But I knew I needed to take a interlude from all of these big projects that I was doing, and that's why I'm just on like a hand spun hat kick, at least for a little bit. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Might it have been fun had I knit it this way, but I think this was almost like a little bit too long of a color repeat for this pattern. So you don't end up seeing as much of the cool stuff that you get, because normally you would see a little bit more action happening in this part of the hat, but you don't, because the color ones were long enough that it just wasn't as highlighted. But I do think it will look really good in a fractal spun yarn, and I happen to have a 3-ounce fractal spun yarn with which to try it with. So this is where the infinite repeat could be in the danger zone. Be like, you know what? all of my oddball, not enough to make a proper big thing handspun shall become hats. It's a distinct possibility. Because like both of these yarns I think would look really cute in the pattern, and they're both 3-ounce skeins, and 3 ounces is pretty good amount for a hat. And I could probably be pretty structured about it. These other yarns in here, so these guys are the Jacob. So I ended up giving my fog hat to my mother-in-law because she thought it was cute and it fit her. My fog hat was a little bit too big for me, so I earlier had spun the 2 ounces of Jacob, and I'll end up knitting a smaller. I might knit the smallest size because I do like a snug hat. And then Outlook is unclear as to whether or not for the contrast color, so you can for this contrast color, if it's enough contrast now that I don't need to make it guttery mosaic to make it really pop. So this baggie might just all become hats. Whatever. I'm okay with that. This is Rolog. I think that this is Rolog yarn. Or I know it's a 3-ply. This one is a 3-ply fractal. Both of them were samples from Clemis and Clemis classes that I spun this year. Which is cool. It's their older hand spun. This should be knit up properly. Man, I wonder. There's like a scrub cherry in the eucalyptus tree outside, but there's also, I'm wondering if there is like a crow nesting on the roof as well, because I see flying frequently. But fall does not seem to be the time for baby birds, so. But I don't know if you can hear the jay chirping, but whatever. Maybe it's a bluebird. I've definitely seen bluebirds here too. But it's also very strange because the birds that you find west of the Rockies and the birds that you find east of the Rockies are totally different. I don't know, gulls seem to be universal, but your land-dwelling birds all seem to be fairly similar to each other, as you do. In other finished object news, since we're sort of going in reverse order of finishing, what ended up being the big finish was my brioche sizzle pop. So, and I haven't even washed this yet. My plan is for this to be, not to do this delicate hand wash, what have you. Like, my plan is to throw it in the washing machine and then lay flat to dry. And a sunny, not foggy, warm day like this does seem to be apt, the right time to do it. So I was really close to finishing this 2 weeks ago. I don't know if I still have the marker. Yeah, I don't even have the right marker in this anymore. I do have one in here from progress, like, whatever, many weeks ago. But yeah, so there is definitely a color shift that you can see. My final skein was a bit more red, but that's not the end of the world. So I'm very excited to see, like, how everything pushes up, how big it gets after I do that. Because what would it be? It is a very substantial piece. So, what would it be? It was, I think I ended up in the end having like about 30 grams left over, and that was such that there couldn't have been any more if I'd wanted to. And definitely would be more of like a shawl pin sort of activity, at least in this state. But would be. But also the shape is also really good for like blanket purposes as well. So I brought this to knitting on the patio in Berkeley on Sunday, and it was colder than people expected. So I was like, here, put this on you if you're cold. I don't need it. So should be good. Should be fun. So Sizzlepop, Leslie, and Robinson knit out of Vomisa DK and Feldmouse that I overdyed with black cherry and ice blue lemonade or ice blue raspberry. Kool-Aid. It still smells like Kool-Aid. And it is definitely very squishy, very soft, and smells faintly of Kool-Aid, but whatever, such is life. It might be slowly losing the scent. So, it has been archly draped in the back of a chair, but maybe I should actually do that final bit of finishing. So I'll probably end up doing like a 2-part blocking photo for it or something like that, as you do. So that was a big finish. I'm pretty sure. And then would it be we have the final item. And I ended up finishing this just in the nick of time with just enough yarn to do the bind off, not much else. But I didn't end up winning any prizes for the Bay Area Fiber Fair, but oh well. So this is Pimentone, Claudia Eisenklubb pattern that I knit out of Shibui Knits Reed in the Pollen, Something Sea, and Velvet colorways. And this isn't going to look super duper piecing over my So which way do we actually want this to be? So this is my first contiguous sleeve sweater. It has more of like a saddle construction to it. Definitely still bra strap covering. I actually do need to just get proper photos with the thing that I'd be actually wearing it with. It does look a little silly here. But yeah, no, I did manage to get it to be long enough without needing to do the edge treatment and the pollen, but I certainly had plenty of yarn to do so. I haven't weighed it to find out how much total yarn I ended up using with it, but I definitely do have plenty of leftovers of the pollen and the, say, shore. As you do. So that'll end up getting thrown in my Ziploc baggie of nut wool scraps with all the other nut wool things. Today certainly would be a great day to wear it. Yeah, no, you can most, like, what would it be? It's definitely very diaphanous, and you can definitely tell when looking at, when you can just, like, see right through the purple. I'm guessing I'll probably end up wearing a black tank top under it. I have like black tank tops and white tank tops, so I think this is a black tank top piece. Whatever. I don't have Molly flesh color tank tops, so though that might be a little bit too risky. But yeah, no, days like today, probably a good choice, as you do. So yeah, so happy with how it turned out. Pretty quick project, all things considered. I guess some of it was knit while I was off of work in between jobs, so there was that. Not that I think I got like oodles of knitting done in that time, but not too crazy. Yeah, and that is the case where, what would it be? This is one of my 2019 sweater quantities, because as we've established, 2019 was a stressful year for me, at least. So it's good to get one of those out of the stash for sure. It doesn't really seem like I've made a dent in the sweater quantity stash, so this may be the case where, in order to make a good proper dent in the sweater quantity stash, would be to take, there's two different ways to do this. You could be like, the heaviest weight yarn would probably make a pretty good dent in it, but at this point, I think I want to just keep knitting hats till it resumes being 57 here. Ooh, my computer thinks it's 83 now. I don't know where it's taking its temperature measurement. I might be able to believe 83. I said, like, what would it be? October is the hot season, though Carl did seem to be creeping up from the beach, so we might get cooled off after. Anyways, the other tack that I can take is I do have some woolen spun sweater quantities in the stash. And those do take up way more volume than their worsted spun counterparts. So that would be another way to make a significant dent in how many baggies of yarn I have in my sweater quantity area. So woolen spun. And I think that one would be, that's my like DK weight. I'm so broken right now. Or hand spun. Would it be, one of my friends from Friday night group just finished knitting a ranunculus in no time flat. And I definitely have yarn that would make sense for that. I also, would it be, I don't know, see, could also have like a hit of fude as well. So not sure where I stand entirely on that, but there certainly is plenty of sweater yarn to go. What would it be? My oldest is, I believe, from 2015. So it might just be nice to get that out of the stash at this point. You know, it may be time. We'll make it work. So we've got another sweater quantity out, but this one was probably the, get this, or This one was probably the lowest volume and weight of yarn. But it was my last linen sweater quantity, and definitely with having a little bit of paint, not as much as when I knit my vitamin D. I should wear the crap out of that sweater because it turned out to be much more expensive than just the price of admission. But okay, so still definitely a lot of this blue left, a pretty decent amount of the yellow. So at some point I may need to figure out what I'm going to do with my not wool leftovers, or if we're just gonna keep on keeping on. Let's see. And then I did end up pulling out some yarn to start something new, so before the in-laws came, so I ended up pulling out a set of needles and then these yarns to hold together. So this, because I couldn't find space in the Pull My Sis stash to put my Neptune leftovers from the Weekender sweater away. What for? Whatever. So I was pulled out some more Pull My Sis stash, and so we shall see what I do. So this is going to be another mostly garter project. So we'll see if that ends up on the needles. There is also, I'm running the Discovery Knit Along in the Sock Knitters group, so I could pull out my Through Waters Farm opposing ply yarn and give that a shot. Or it may just be the case where I just keep knitting Thanesfield hats until satisfaction. Also a distinct possibility. I don't know, I should probably cast on socks for my own knit along. Whatever. I should. Would it be? I could just have a giant Windapalooza and be like, all these projects are small projects. And honestly, at the end of the day, the opposing ply sock yarn I made in the way I intended to has been holding up great. I've been really happy with it. I've been wearing those socks a lot. Or it'd be like, they've definitely, well, they have the disadvantage of after washing their socks, they end up near the top of the sock drawer, so then they get worn again because they're near the top and they're hand spun, and I like hand spun socks. So they've been doing great. So getting some of these sock yarn experiments actually knit up so that I can decide how I want to approach it in the future is probably good. Yeah. So it's fine. It'll work out okay. But how would it be? So that is this right there. And then I'll need to find some room. So in sort of this hilarious cycle of I don't even know what went down, my mother-in-law gave her sister-in-law yarn to knit worsted or DK weight socks with. So this is Art Yarn Super Merino. So it's 100% superwash merino, hand painted, reskeined, 50 gram balls. So I have 3 of these. So I'm gonna have to find a little bit of room in the stash for these guys. I'm not entirely sure would it be not my usual colors. But she ended up handing them to me and be like, I don't know what to do with them. I'm like, okay, I don't know either, but thank you. So this is the stash position for the time being. I haven't hit up to see if there was anything that I wanted to do. So this weekend is the virtual Lambtown Festival. So I don't know if I'm gonna hit up that or just do like a little bit of like supporting of local vendors who would it be I do want to exist next year, as you do, though there is a little bit of timing awkwardness as well because Lambtown is very close to Impact Time, so whatever. But it is the local festival, so would it be? And while I was surprised at the time that they had decided to go virtual again this year, I ended up doing pretty decent damage last year. In fact, I'm spending some of it now. So whatever. I'm liking this whole stash shrinking, remaking sort of thing. So it wouldn't be a lot if I did end up doing anything, but at least take a little look and figure out if there's anything. But whatever. Much more excited about getting the stash down. Much more excited about having 3 finished objects this week. That's very exciting. And then if I keep working these really small projects, like geez Louise, like what if we keep making hats? I have tons. Hats coming over my ears. Oh well, so figure something out. It'll be okay. But whatever. Just have to properly account, figure out where everything needs to go, do all the things, call it good. Whatever. Account for properly all of the things. Yeah. Would it be? All sorts of, would it be? Whatever. There's some behind the scenes excitement. Would it be? So hopefully, would it be? We'll be able to go on a little bit of a vacation, so that would be lovely. And then just sort of dealing with things around the house and getting everything sorted and pushing through on some of those sorts of things, which hasn't been like super high priority, but you know, like it'd be nice if it was done. So that was one of the really nice things about the in-laws coming, was there was a big rejiggering of what stuff needed to be where, and when it needed to be where it needed to be. So hopefully slow and steady progress on that front. In anticipation of the in-laws coming, managed to actually get a lot of stuff hung, so that was good because they were just sort of hanging out places, not really doing very much, so that was positive. And then the only other thing would be, whatever, may just be me deciding if I want to have my workstation live in the bedroom or if I end up moving it in here. So I don't think we're going to be having any guests in for quite some time, actually, so it's probably good. Means this room's for myself. There are no disruptions. But who knows, whatever. We'll figure something out. But yeah, no, so that is the story there. Lots of possibilities, probably casting on something new tonight. Anyone's guess as to which yarn I actually decide to wind. And would it be just general excitement about getting a couple of FOs notched up. And then excitement that it's actually warm. Yay! And then mild confusion that the podcast is fun, but the coffee isn't all drunk, so not doing a good job there. But whatever. Such as that. So I don't anticipate any interruptions to the recording schedule, at least in the near term. It should be good. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to our guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.